The social penetration theory happens shortly after a relationship has begun. This is how we take a relationship to the next level, to a deeper level. So through communication is how we do it, and through self-disclosure. So self-disclosure is when we are sharing personal information about ourselves with another person. There's really 3 layers to this development. You have a superficial layer, a social or personal layer, and then you have the core. So first, superficial. Superficial are those things that everybody knows about you. I mean, you can look at me and assume that I'm female. You might see the ring on my finger and assume that I'm married. Maybe you know where I work. These are just superficial things you might know about someone. For social or personal, that's information you're probably going to share with maybe just close friends or family, and it's getting to more personal information. And then you have your core, which is really your inner personality. And that you're not going to share with very many people at all. And it's really going to be some of those deep, dark, not dark, but deep secrets information about yourself. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about an onion, okay, with this concept. So when you're thinking about 2 people in a relationship, where are they at in the onion? Okay. Is it superficial? Are they on a social level? Or are they right in the center to the core of their relationship? Where has a relationship penetrated to? At what level? And any relationship can jump around in the onion. So for example, my husband, we've been married for over 20 years. We're definitely at the core of this onion, right? We've shared some very deep personal things with one another. But it doesn't mean that we can't jump to the superficial. I mean, we certainly talk about the weather. We talk about really superficial things. So you can jump around, okay? I think that's important to know. So we have depth and we have breadth. Depth is really where that self-disclosure is going deep into the core of the onion. The breadth are kind of the circles around the onion, the layers, right, that you peel off, and can have a lot of different topics within those layers. So let me give an example of a coworker, maybe someone I've worked with for over 20 years. We may still be on a very superficial level with one another. Because it's a work environment, you need to be careful about how much you are self-disclosing. So with this particular person, we may know a lot, the outside of that onion ring, we may know a lot about dogs, animals, kids, knows I like to garden, knows I like to go biking, kind of superficial information. But we haven't gone to the core. Even though I've known them for 20 years, we've just kept it at that level because it's a work environment. Now, I may have another coworker, for example, who I've also known a long time, and maybe we are more in the center. We're more at that core. Now, why would I do that? Why would I do that with one and not with another? When I just got done saying that you can be a little bit vulnerable. This is where self-disclosure needs to be reciprocal. So if I've shared something with them and they've shared something with me, and it's sort of at that equal level, then that's when it's okay to keep going and taking that relationship further. We also share in-kind information. So when we tend to self-disclose, we're going to keep it on kind of the same level, and we're going to keep it in an in-kind fashion. So someone who discloses too much too early, we want to use that exit phase that we talked about in a previous video. So we all know that person. We sit down on a park bench next to them, and all of a sudden we know all of their private, personal information. They're talking about their rash and their health history and the divorce with their husband. You know, it's just, wow, way too much information. You probably need to get out of there. That's not a safe thing. So we've got the depth into the core of the onion. We have the breadth, which is around the onion, lots of different topics. The core, only a few people are probably going to know the core about you. Now, I tend to be someone who discloses at a higher level. So I may have a few more people in my core, but I'm still not going to have hundreds of people, okay? Even for someone who shares a lot. It's risky to put yourself out there. It's risky to share all those deep secrets. So you really want to think about it before you share. So social penetration theory is typically not fast. Okay, this happens over time. So is it better to have more depth than breadth? Or is it better to have more breadth than depth? I don't know. There's not really a right answer to that. I think in a lot of things we've talked about in this class, it's everything in moderation. Try and find a safe sort of balance, middle ground for our solid relationships. Okay, so that is social penetration theory. And I'm going to now return this onion to the refrigerator because it's getting a little stinky.